Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you how to install these, or any really. You can, it's not just these specific ones, but I'm going to show you how to do these ones. These are 7-inch spotlights from Terrafirma and a bracket kit to install them on a Discovery free. So I will link this kit in the description. It's from eBay, and I will link these as well. These I think I bought straight from Terrafirma, I think, or Mountains 4x4 or somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to unbox this and then we're going to install it on the Discovery. We have to modify the bracket because I have opened these already and the holes aren't big enough. I think these are only M8 and these are M10, so that's the only modification we've got to do. But first we will unbox them. Let's get these open and see what we get in them. I believe, I may be wrong, but they're about £270, I think, for the pair. So that's when you open the box. That's what you're greeted with. So, looks like we've got some different coloured rings for the front of the lights. I think you get red, orange and blue that come on it. The blue one should already be on there. We've got a wiring harness, some waterproof connectors that go straight in, so you haven't got to do much wiring at all really. I'm just going to wire these to my high beams. I think I may put a switch down the line because I've got a light bar for the roof rack as well, so I might wire them into a switch so that I can have just my normal high beams, just these and the high beams, or everything on at once. So, but all I've got to do then is take the signal that's coming from the headlight, put a switch in it, and then back into the relay, whereas we're just going to do straight from the headlight to the relay for now. So you get a nice wiring loom with a switch on it already if you want. Obviously we are going to change that. We have got some bits of rubber, possibly for the bottom of the light bracket, and the bolts. As you can see, they're big chunky M10 bolts, and some Allen keys to adjust the angle of the light, and then the lights themselves. There you go, beautiful units. So they got the blue ring on already. I think I might change it to the orange. I think I'm going to like the orange a bit better. So you got some nice big cooling fins on there. Good watertight connection on there. Probably about 12 inches, 14 inches of cable, which is good, with a plug. And already tested, that plug will go through the grill already, so I don't have to cut any wiring. So there's your lights. That's what you get in the Terrafirma box. So what I'm going to do first is actually install the brackets, because they do require one hole being drilled in the car, I do believe. First thing I'm going to do, I believe these are an M10. I'm just going to measure them anyway. Get a set of calipers. There you go. Oh, there we go, M12. So we need to drill. There you go, 12 mil. We need to drill these, because these are the bits that come out through the grill, to M12, which I think is just one size up. I think they're already M10 by the looks of it. Drill these out, and then we can go and get them installed. So first thing you need to do is pop your bonnet. Once you've popped your bonnet, the grill has clips here. There, and then one in there and one in there, so you need to take the grill off. take this trim off, which is held in by some amazing plastic tabs. Of course, let's see, pull that out. I think we have to trim this, put that back afterwards, so keep hold of that. Because I believe the bottom of our mounts mount to this material here. So we need next brackets. I've got them roughly in place, the brackets, just so I can place the grill and see whereabouts they're going to sit. And I'm going to have a look through the grill. So that lines up perfectly with a slot. And the same thing there. That lines up fine, so that's where we're going to put them. It's round about in line with the edge of that. So next, we need to drill this hole here to screw them to that, and then the back of this will go on the back of that and clamp it on that pinch. So I think maybe if we bolt that on roughly, then we can position it with that. So we'll do that next. We'll just push that bracket there, that's better. It's holding it a little bit more level. I think I'm also going to have to bend the horn out of the way a little bit more. That's rubbing on the bracket, so I'll probably bend that out of the way a little and adjust them to where that sits centre to this bar here, just about there. Double check, that's good. Yeah, that's probably as far as we can go. And then these brackets are adjustable, but it says that they go on that way, but if I put them on that way, I'm going to have to cut loads out. So I think I'm going to put them on this way, because I'm going to have to cut loads out of the grill, and I don't really want to be cutting anything out of my grill if I can avoid it. I've drilled them out, so they're now in 12 holes. I'm just going to temporarily bolt these on to line them up. So we haven't drilled any holes yet, but we're roughly in place. Now we will see how well that fits. I think we need to come down a little bit. This bracket. Try again. Perfect, that's sat on there and it's not rubbing. Still room, so that's where that's going to sit. Let's see what it's going to look like. So there it is with the light sat on it. I think that's going to look quite nice. Another one about there, I think, or there. It's going to sit there. It's going to look quite cool. So now we'll get the hole permanently drilled and get the bracket mounted for good. I'm just going to mark the line. Be where that where that bracket sits level. Because I'm going to take it off, put washers on it, I think. And then I believe this bracket is level, so we're going to centre punch it. Which will leave a nice indent there, which we can now drill. Got this step bit from Rennie Tools to match that hole, which, what the fuck, it's like a metric, it's like an imperial hole or something. We're going to drill it out to, probably, and them holes are bigger than they need to be, so we're going to drill it to a 6mm hole. How nicely they cut. Careful with these bits because they bite. We're going to put a little bit of paint on that just to stop it rusting. A little bit of cardboard just to stop anything else getting painted. Put some paint on that. Now I've got washers, but I'm just going to put a washer on the bolt because the nut, they're like grippy nuts, so they, with a washer, I think they'll slip if that grippy nut doesn't have something to grip to, so they're like this, grippy nuts. So we'll do that up. And then up tight. And then make sure that's lined up with the mark. We'll just put a washer on that, we won't wash the rest. Kit doesn't come with one, so I will monitor them. I will check them in a few weeks, see if they've come undone. It's pretty solid. So that's one bracket done. So now you just need to do the exact same to this side, which I'm not going to film because you just watched it. So do the same to this side, and I'll come back when we're ready to mount the lights. Right, now that's all mounted up, both sides, it's all done up tight. The little trim we took out, I will trim at the end of the video, but I'm not going to film it. So we're going to put the grill back on, so we know it still fits. Perfect. And they aren't rubbing, which is great. So the light units, as we discussed before, come with a rubber piece. I assume it's some sort of anti-vibration piece, but it's a lot wider than our piece. So I'm going to put that on there and probably trim around it. What we're going to do, so the light will sit like that, you see, so we don't need nowhere near as much of that rubber piece as if you were fitting it to a like conventional light bar or something. So I bought it on loosely. Scribe the rubber piece and then take it off, cut the rubber piece, and then we'll put it back on properly. So I've just got to pick. So I'm going to scribe around the bracket, the round metal one. Now the wires are all round for the lights. We've got to actually run them properly. So you've got positive and negative, and you've got a relay which needs to be mounted somewhere, and you've got a switch line which usually you would run into the cab and have inside. I'm not doing that because I'm going to have them triggered from the headlights. So there's a ground here, just down here, which is what I'm going to mount the relay to, and I'm also going to run the ground to that as well because it's already a chassis ground, so we'll do that first. So I'll use a 10mm and knock this ground off. It's a Land Rover factory ground anyway, so it's good enough for me. I'm going to take the Land Rover ground off, put our ground over the top, put our relay over as well. This is also going to mount our relay. And then put the nut back on. Do it all up nice and tight. That's where having a nice ratchet spanner will come in handy. And obviously, you know, this tutorial is for most vehicles, but you can change it, you know, not just for Land Rovers, it can be used for any. I'm trying to mount this as close to the battery box as I can while still, so I've got enough cable. So we need to run that to the positive. The lights are on behind me, so we know we've got a good ground. So we will run that. It's open to run it through there, but you might have to go to that lug there. So we'll wire that in now as well. Jesus. Undo that. Put our red one on wire there. Put that back on. Land Rover don't give you many lugs to come off of for accessory wiring, and what this will do is it will also keep our fuse in the battery box out of the weather. So next we need to run our power to our lights. We're going to run them down through the engine bay. They are quite long, but I'm not going to cut them short, we're just going to tie them up. And then we need to run this to our headlight high beam power, so we're going to find that next. So I've run the wiring along to there, turned it back round, and now we're back here just because I don't want to cut the nice plugs off. So next you're going to need to take your headlight out, so that gives you access to your plug if you're wiring it up like I am. If you're wiring it to a switch inside, fine, you don't need to, but I'm wiring it to high beams, so we have to. So you're going to locate this blue and grey wire, and you need to snip that and then wire this red one from the switch into that, and that will trigger the lights to come on when your high beams do. So I'm going to snip that one, and then we'll cut the sheathing back just a little bit more, just be careful not to cut through any other wires while you're doing that. So put the heat shrink over that, and I'm using a heat gun for these. Usually I would use a lighter, but because I'm using these soldering connectors, they react a lot better to a heat gun than they do a lighter. A lighter just tends to burn them, so I'm going to use a heat gun as soon as it's here. So I've had to crimp it in the end, and I've put it inside this sheathing, wrapped it up in some cloth tape. You only need the red signal wire because I remember the ground wire is grounded to the other ground wire, so that doesn't matter. So that's all working now, so I'm going to put the headlight back in, tuck the wiring up, and then we'll tighten the headlights up and we're nearly done. There they are, working off the high beams. Put your headlight back in, and that's the install. Thanks for watching.